Hey guys, it is 101 R Smith. I'm back again with another review. This time we're taking a look at the Master Grade Tallgeese from Gundam Wing. You guys voted for it between YouTube and Instagram. It was between the Crossbone and the Tallgeese. You guys want the Tallgeese, so here we go. We're taking a look at a Tallgeese, and I gotta say, one of the things I love about the Tallgeese is that I've built it before. I built Tallgeese 3 about 5 years ago. And what I loved about the build was it was so refreshing after building, at that point, so many Gundams where it was just different enough and the build was different and it had different gimmicks towards how it was functioning. So it really made me excited because it was just, it broke up the monotony of when you build so many Gunpla kits, because they do after a while start to look all together and look all the same, structural wise, but after a while you get to actually break it down and build something unique like a Tallgeese. So to revisit the Tallgeese almost 5 years later is a bit of a treat for me. And another thing I'm doing is I'm actually gonna paint this somewhat. I'm not going all the way because it's blistering cold outside, but I wanted to return Tallgeese back to its TV colors. So the main colors that I have to tackle for the EW version are the yellow and the grayish white parts that make up the booster and the side skirts. So I'm gonna try my best to tackle that while painting on the inside of my house. So I'm painting out of a window. I'm trying to put that all together into one TV version that could fit together with my Gundam Wing collection. So on that note, why don't we open up the box to see what we have here. All built together, and now we have the Tallgeese in its full glory. And I gotta say, this project, for the most part, I feel came out pretty well. The main colors we had to focus were really, again, the yellow and the black. Or should I say, the yellow and the light gray parts of the Tallgeese, and trying to put that back together to its TV colors. And I gotta say, I think I was pretty successful. For that, for the yellow, I tackled it with a very light gray to give it a two-tone effect like a real gray. And then for the black, I was gonna go for NATO, but I ran out of paint, so I had to go to semi-gloss and use some after paints and top coats to kind of bring it down to its natural color. I didn't want it too glossy, but I think it matches pretty well. Now you might notice that some of the parts aren't painted nicely. I could have done a better job. Had an accident where some of the parts fell off, which was infuriating, but we were able to get it together. Tallgeese by itself is a fun kit to build, but you gotta understand that you're just gonna come with a lot of balancing issues. The fact that I was able to make the SAM was not without the help of the Dopper Gun. By its own, once you have it all built up, Tallgeese is going to struggle to stand. But on itself, if you just wanted the EW version, it still isn't a bad kit. There's just color differences. That's what you really have to focus on. Do you want it TV colors, or do you want the out of box, out of build paint? And unfortunately, there's not really a P Bandai of the TV colors of the Master Grade. Though I hope that one day we do get that, but you're gonna have to paint this in order to get the TV colors. But on its own, Tallgeese is pretty solid. But while it looks cool, why don't we check out some of its articulation? As we always do, we start with the head. The head can go up and down, and part of the chest will move too. You'll get a full 360-degree rotation, but you will have to move a little slow. Take your time with the joints. Trust me, you don't want the mohawk to fall off. The arm has a joint inside of itself that makes it go out about 180 parallel to each other, and you can swing the arm forward and backwards so long as you don't let the boosters get in your way. The arms have a double jointed elbow, and you're going to be having the swappable hands that are attached to a polycap, so you're going to get a full 360 range. The waist is surprisingly loose because of the back heaviness of the thrusters, but you can move a little bit. You won't get a full 180 either. Front skirts can go out, and the cool thing about Tallgeese is it's going to have a very beautiful double jointed knee that just moves out mechanically, which looks amazing. Toes can move front and back a little bit, but not too much, which handles a lot of the stability issues that comes with Tallgeese standing up. Outside of that, Tallgeese has a decent amount of range, but unfortunately on the ground, you're not really going to get a lot. Fortunately, Tallgeese is a kit where having an action base is mandatory in order to get some of the cooler poses with this kit. So unfortunately, you are going to have to spare a little extra expense in order to get the full capabilities of the Tallgeese going together. But trust me, once you get it paired together with a Wing Gundam, I believe that getting that Tallgeese and action base is worth the extra expense, even if it's just an extra $10. So go get it. Now on to the accessories, and the first one we're gonna take a look at is the Dopper Gun. This is Tallgeese's signature rifle. It can shoot both beams and machinery type of ammo at you. It's made up of multiple pieces and it looks great. However, the biggest problem with the Dopper Gun is a little bit of a two-part. So it's supposed to have like the spring attached to it that allows it to clip on the inside so it can go off like an actual shotgun. Unfortunately, mine didn't kind of hook up that well, so I kind of lost that feature. The spring is inside, it's spring loaded, it just can't connect to that one little piece that connects everything together. So that's my bad. The other part, which isn't my bad, is the fact that this thing is a bit awkward to pose by itself, because you got to use the hinge system connected to the shoulders of the Tallgeese in order to make the magic all come together. And it could be a bit frustrating, and the way that the shoulders are built and the way that the Tallgeese is built together can be pretty awkward and a little frustrating. So you got to take your time with it in order to get some really good posing with it. And even then, it still looks a bit awkward to me. It's just my personal opinion. It doesn't quite work like the TV show, but if you can angle it just right and get the right kind of lighting and the right position of your camera, or just however you want to pose it, you can get the Dopper Gun to work with you. Next, we have the shield and the beam saber that it comes with. It comes with 2 hilts, so you get 2 blades. The shield also has the same problem as the Dopper Gun. You gotta work within the hinge system connected with the shoulders of the Tallgeese. However, you can cheat out a bit because getting the hand to hold the shield itself can be troublesome. But thanks to that hinge system, you can fake it out a little bit, so you don't have to go that extra effort to try to get the hand together. It can be frustrating, but if you go use the hinge instead of the hand itself, it makes your life a lot easier to pose this thing. And personally, I think Tallgeese looks a lot better with the beam saber shield combo than the Dopper Gun, only because the Dopper Gun is so cumbersome and just gets in the way. Shield and beam saber, boom, right there, it works, it looks great, and you can get, once you get this on an action base, you can get a lot of poses going on with it. I think it looks better with the more melee oriented combat rather than the more long range combat. That's just me. Getting it together like that, it looks amazing. And of course, I could not end this Tallgeese review without getting it together with Wing Gundam. You need those two together. It's just like peanut butter and jelly. Having Zex and Hito going out in their earlier bouts in Gundam Wing just brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. And getting them posed together is a bit of a dream come true for me. My final thoughts on Tallgeese 3 is that it's very mid. And what I mean by mid is the build was a lot of fun. It was very different. If you built Gundams before, I highly recommend building Tallgeese because it's just so much different than your typical Gundam. Putting it together can get you a lot excited about the build and what you're putting together. Once you see it start to come to fruition after the inner frame, you start to figure out what it's becoming, and it's a lot of fun. If you definitely have a lot of Gundam monotony and you want to break that up a bit, I think the Tallgeese is a great kit. However, it does have some flaws that keep it from being totally excellent. Again, this is a kit that mandates an action base. You must get this thing on an action base in order for it to have a lot of its own action. Otherwise, you're just going to be having it stand up and using the Dopper Gun as a third leg in order to get it standing correctly. Otherwise, it's going to be falling a lot and you're going to get frustrated and not want to have this thing there. The Dopper Gun is very cumbersome and very awkward to pose with it. The hinge system, while it does keep it up and works the way as it should in the TV show, does not work towards actual posing. I have seen some people pull off better posing than I can, which kudos to them, and it is possible to get some good poses with the Dopper Gun and the shield if you work with the hinge system that it's attached to the shoulders. It just gets a bit frustrating, at least for me, in order to pull it off. Some of the balancing issues, it does get back heavy, especially with those two thrusters on the side. And once you get them to open up even more so, it does create a lot more weight to it. And overall, it's like the waist is strong, but the top half is heavy and loose. And that's why it necessitates an action base. Having that said, I will give this thing a style ranking of a B. It's good, it looks like the Tallgeese, whether you want to paint it up to the TV colors or you're happy with the EW colors, you will be happy with it once you get it on an action base, and it looks great. It can pose if you're patient with it. You gotta work with the kit, which can be a little off-putting with some builders who just wanna build, keep it in one pose and go. And overall, I would say this is a good kit, especially if you want to build up your Gundam Wing collection. And overall, I would say get it when you can. I wouldn't spend more than $40 on it though, so try to find it on a little bit of a discount or the deal. On that point, I am 101 Smith, and I will see you later. Peace.